10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, everybody? It is Tuesday night. You know what time it is. It is time for Shooting the Shit Uncensored, and I am your host, the dad bod god himself, the bald, the beard, the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I am joined by a very special guest. He's also bald. He's also got a beard. I don't think he's beautiful, but I'm sure there's many people that do. He's a nice guy, just not my type. But anyway, guys, I digress. Before I bring out my guest this evening, Mr. Parker Tomas, I want to take a quick pause for the cause to thank some of those amazing sponsors and help me keep these glowing lights on up in this bitch. First up is sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, sleefs.com. If you or someone you know is an athlete, you need to check out Sleefs. They've got everything from armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, compression socks, headbands, mouth guards, boots. They've even got these sexy, dirty boxes. And I have to say, guys, they sent me boxes of the boxes of the boxes. And they sent me a bunch of these dirty boxes. I threw out all my other boxes because these are the most comfortable boxes that I own. I'm an active guy. I work full-time. I chase after my kids. I do 3 podcasts. I'm nonstop. These boxes stay dry, they stay fresh, and they are amazingly comfortable. And they've got some funky designs on the front of them to keep that special someone in your life giggling away when the pants come down. But guys, check out sleeps.com. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Next up, guys, is healthvape.com. Now, if you know someone who's one of those filthy motherfuckers that smoke cigarettes, or you're like me and you're one of those vape people, you need to go and check out Health Vape. They are your healthy vaping alternative. All of their products, no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals, and they are vitamin infused. So make sure you go and check out some of their vape and pod products. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Guys, MWA Podcast Network, we are bringing you some of the best wrestling media content out there today, bar none. We got shows like Killing the Business, hosted by former ECW original, the Kingpin Angel Medina, alongside of King Mega and the Burger King, Glenn Sexton. Make sure you check that out every Saturday, 12 p.m. Australian time, which is 8 p.m. on a Friday night, USA Eastern. It is a must-watch show. Also, guys, while you're at it, check out Knights of the Gimmick Table, hosted by the Dead Presidents. That is an amazing show, guys. It's taken a bit of a hiatus. It is coming back, and you will not want to miss it. Also, guys, check out Get Funked, hosted by former WCW and TNA star Alan Kwee Funk. He's had on some amazing guests. He's had on guys from WCW that don't actually do podcasts. Some have never actually done any podcasts or interviews, so they're an exclusive to the MWA Podcast Network. Check out the Funk and Kingpin show with Alan Funk and Kingpin Angel Medina as well. Check out Wrestling with Sports. Check out NXT Roundup. And of course, Shooting the Shit Uncensored. As I said, we have something for everybody. Guys, also make sure you check out Wrestling with Tragedy on the Russo's brand, where it's me, John Poz, and Angel Medina. It is a must-watch show, guys, to get an exclusive first look at all of the shows of Wrestling with Tragedy. Forgot what podcast I was talking about. Wrestling with Tragedy, you have to subscribe to russosbrand.com, and you get a hell of a lot of talent over there, including Wrestling with Tragedy and everything else. But MWA Podcast Network is free for everybody. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to us on a podcast platform, give us a 5-star review. Leave us a comment. If it's something positive, great. If it's something you think we can do better, let us know, because we're all about growth and we want to do better for our audience. But ladies and gentlemen, I can see there's a few people in the crowd already. We've got Jordan asking, where's PT? He's coming. We got Kyle Eade in the house. And without further ado, I'm going to bring him out. And he was actually my broadcast colleague at the last FWA show for a little bit. So we're going to talk about that and much more. But without further ado, Mr. PT Parker Tomas. Brother, thanks for coming on the show.
How are you, brother? It's good to finally jump on. This is awesome, man. I love it. I'm so pumped. That intro was great, bro.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I've been excited to have you on, man. It's great. You know, the last couple of shows that I've been able to have the pleasure on doing commentary or being a part of, the PWA Green Label show and also the FWA show as well. You were performing on both those shows. And I have to say, for someone who was sort of new coming in and an outsider, not being someone who's, you know, trained in wrestling, I was a little bit nervous. And you were one of those guys that came up, gave me a pat on the back, big smile, and made me really feel comfortable and part of the team there. So thank you for that.
Nah, bro, made me blush. I think it was the same haircut that drew us together. You know, it's like that birds of a feather sort of thing. You know, we've got to stick together, mate.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. But, mate, thank you for coming on the show. You know, and just starting off, you're from a country boy, you were just saying before. You know, how did pro wrestling become something that a part of your life? Or was it something that you always watched as a kid? Was it something you're obsessed about? Like, how did it play a part in a kid's from the country's life? Oh,
man, pretty much yes to both those. So I've been watching wrestling since, I'm gonna put it out there, since late 80s as well. So, you know, so it's a bit of a hint on a few things, but late 80s was the first sort of thing. Really dug the Attitude Era. That was like awesome. And then obviously like just been a fan ever since. Like, it was, for me, it was something I always I wasn't big on comic books. I was never really a big superhero person, but as far as wrestling, that was my superhero. So that was like, you know, that was something that I found was really cool. It was relatable. It was something that I just really felt drawn to. So that was what just hooked me, like the whole showmanship and the bigger than life characters and, like, you know, just that whole like mystique of just another world. And that was like, because I wasn't a very like I was sort of not a quiet kid, but not as like into exercise or fitness or working out as much. So they were like the people that I was drawn to when I was growing up. And yeah, like, you know, you get the old VHSs and do all that sort of stuff, a bit of tape trading, and then just, mate, I fell in love with it, stayed in love with it, and I'm probably always going to be a part of it. It's amazing.
Do you remember the match that drew you into it? Like, do you remember first?
Oh, no, you are killing me. Yeah, this is going to be terrible. Okay, so I wouldn't say this is what, so I wouldn't say what drew me. I say it's what caught me, right? So, all right. You ever heard of a TV show called Wide World of Sports?
Yeah, man. You know, I think you and I are probably around the same age here.
So everyone's going, what? Huh? Okay, so Wide World of Sports, right, was the Saturday Arvo, right? It was pretty much from lunchtime to, I don't know, God knows when, like 30 hours of sport. But it was every obscure sport you could think, like, you know, cricket, basketball, football, marbles, thumbtacks, like throwing rocks. But then every Saturday Arvo, there'd be one match, man. Like, you'd watch it, there'd be one match. It was like always a big wrestling match. It was always WWF, like rock and roll, like, you know, wrestling. Yeah. And the one that I remember that got me was Hogan Warrior at WrestleMania 6 in Toronto. So they put that on, right? I didn't have a clue, right? So it was like, you know, but you just see, like, obviously, you know, Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, large and life characters, you know, the match of the ages. And mate, I think I was very young at that stage. So, you know, it's just one of those things you just get drawn to it. And then ever since then, like, you look for it. And the big one, the one after that was when I was, the next one was the Ric Flair Royal Rumble when he joined the E, you know, WWF back in the day. Yeah, man. So you come in, like, mate, where I grew up, there was probably 2 videotapes, mate. You watch those 50 times, hoping something different would happen. Not going to happen. It's going to be the same result every time. But you saw that, and then, like, you know, they had, like, you know, in your house pay-per-views, like, on video, like 6 months behind. Then they have Rumble, and then they have Old Manias, like WrestleMania 8, and just they were probably my earliest memories. getting back into it was 100% the Attitude Era. 100% the Attitude Era. It was pretty much everybody started talking about it at school. Like you saw people popping up with the Stone Cold shirts, the Rock shirts, the DX shirts, and doing all that sort of stuff. And I hadn't watched it for a while, and then you started catching it, and then so same thing. The video store started stocking stuff again, and the first one was the Royal Rumble at Madison Square Garden. There was one, the Rock one, and the main was, I think it was 99 or 2000. I think it was. Yeah, one of those. I think it was, maybe 99 or 2000. But it was one, Madison Square Garden, where it was Hardy Boys versus Dudley Boys, Taz versus Angle. What else you had? You had this is one of my favorite matches, but it had Foley, Triple H Street Fight, and then it was Rock in the Rumble.
That's when Triple H got his leg fucked up,
So they did the whole spot, the suplex on the middle of the thing, and then it was the whole the entrance was the ramp with the taxi sticking out the top. So there's this big taxi, and they're filming from there, and Jeff Hardy does a swanton off it, and mate, that was when I was hooked again, and then just religiously boom, 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 and it was one of those things where it's just so it's just every chance I could. I was taping WCW at 2 a.m. when I could. I was watching WWF, and I was just always a fan, but the option to move into it wasn't as prominent. It was something I always wanted to do. So you check the internet, have a bit of a look, and you found a few places, but just for me, it was one of those things where it was always in the back of my mind that I just wanted to do it. Everything was always related to wrestling. I started going to the gym because of wrestling. I started looking after myself because of wrestling. I started a career because of wrestling. It was all those, they were always the prominent points that brought me back, because I felt like it was something that I could enjoy, no matter how obscure. Trying to explain to a friend who doesn't watch it, half the stuff you're watching is don't try, just enjoy it,
But that's the thing, man. With pro wrestling, it's either you get it or you don't.
I love all of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You either love pro wrestling or you don't. You don't go, I can flick through and watch it. You know what I mean? It's no, you either watch it or you don't.
Yeah. So, I remember telling my parents, I'm hey, man, I'd like to become a wrestler. I'd move, travel to Sydney or wherever they were sort of doing training back in the early 2000s. And it was one of those things that was a hard no. It was that's not even a job. Literally, I was working 4 hours a week at an electrical store, selling fridges and washing machines, living in a caravan, out on my parents' property. So I was that was the first option. Then I went, well, all right, I might as well join a gym and start exercising. And then that led to the progression to, life.
So how did you actually break into the business?
Well, I annoyed the hell out of a friend. So I'd always seen Newy Pro shows. Newy Pros were just so this was one of those things in Charlestown, you see the poster at Charlestown Square, you see all those guys. And it's just one of those things where I'd seen wrestling before, live, you go to big live events and all that, but I was always enticed to local stuff. And then there was Newy Pro shows, whereas the big ones were I hope I get this right, but there was a Lightspeed Express versus the Swolgers. That was one of my first matches I watched. So it was Robbie and Matt versus Broderick, and I just drew a blank. Hope they hear this and forgive me for this one. But so that was amazing. Then seeing Robbie and Matt in a cage match, and there was Bonza and Moretti, and then all that. And then the funny thing was, on my actual first show was going to old school, man. I saw a Showtime Wrestling Alliance show, which was before Newcastle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I saw that, and that was always it was really cool and everything like that. But then same thing, back in the mind, whatever, it's there. And then I had a friend say, I know the owner of Newy Pro, and I literally just fainted. I went, pick me up and tell me where he is, whatever the case may be. I was oh. So I was just every day, have you talked to him? Have you talked to him? Have you talked to him? Hard no. So she goes, I've got tickets to the show. Do you want to go? I'm yeah, cool, we'll go. So we go to the show, and she introduced me to a friend who works with Newcastle Pro and Hoff and all that sort of stuff. And she said, we've got to turn up at the house on a Monday at 6:30. Man, I'd never been more scared in my life. It was one of those things where I was now I've got to do it. So that was it there. So the date was set, and it was one of those things where we turned up, and I walk in there, and it's this massive shed, and you go in there. Obviously, Hoffman was there, and then a lot of the rookies as well. And that was cool because they'd performed like a couple of weeks before, and you'd seen them, and oh my god, these guys that, and then you see them like training, you're like, holy shit, there's a ring, there's the ropes, there's that, and there's everything, and then you just like, yeah, and that was the thing. And then Hoff had a real good chat with us and said, this is what it's like, this is what it is. We'll do a few things tonight, and then if you can keep up to this level, you'll train. And so basically it's like a bit of fitness testing, some basic rolls, and just more conditioning cardio just to adapt to it and all that sort of stuff. And that was like at the end of like the crew that was already there, so they were watching and a part of it. So you had all the rookies that were there, and man, that was like the coolest thing I'd ever done, but I'd never been more scared in my life. And then that was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and they haven't got rid of me since. So, yeah.
Were you in shape when you turned up? Like were you fit going in there?
Yeah, I worked out. It's like I worked out and I enjoyed training and all that sort of stuff. But then it gave me something to train for. Like that's the thing. Like it gave me something to like. This sounds so cliche, but it gave me something to get up in the morning and do. Like it gave me a reason to watch wrestling again. It gave me like as much as like I have like my career and all that sort of stuff. The family portion of it has always been wrestling the last 5 years. And that's the thing. Like that gave me something a lot more than just training. It gave me a reason to train because like there's trust and there's camaraderie and there's friendship and there's family. And like you're like watching other people succeed. So the thing is no salt, but then you're like, I want to be there. I want to do that. Or I want to work hard enough for that opportunity. So it gives you something to sort of work for and then see your peers do better and then, have those opportunities. So for that, it was more like, it was just no direct answer, but it was just something to get up and train for. Like, you wanted to look the part. Because when I was growing up, I'm like, I wanted to look like those guys. So now it's like, well, I hope I can be a role model regardless of what sort of character traits I have when I wrestle to other people as well.
Yeah. And I think that's probably a good thing to have is whereas like I think probably some people get into pro wrestling, it's like, oh yeah, the abs will come with it while I'm training wrestling. You know what I mean?
Mate,
like that.
I ain't athletic. I'm not doing no flips. I'm too old for that. If I can put on a nice wrist lock and actually look like I look the part, that's fine. All right. I'm happy with that. If I can fill a part, like I'll let those other guys do that real like sort of cool stuff as well. I like, I'll go that good sort of like just look the part, have a really good match and then go from there. So, yeah, so, I love it.
So when you first started training, how was it when you did start doing the rolls and starting to do the
horrible, terrible, man. When I bumped, I felt like my soul left my body. Like, you literally say play like Mortal Kombat when you're a kid. I just dropped and then just something left my chest. But it still feels like that, man. I've got the combo of getting older and trying to get better. So, it's rough. But to be honest with you, it's super exciting. Super nervous. But then from there, it was like that progression to build that trust, build that skill set, build that faith, make sure you're listening to your coaches, putting in the work, doing everything from there. Because like obviously training is a vital part of it, but it is a small part of it. So that was like a big thing you learn quick. But as far as the training side of it, man, I love it. Like I'm one of those people where I just want to try everything. Oh man, I seen this or I saw this or I watched this, and then so it was like training is like that canvas to like just explore and then see what sticks. And then if it doesn't, hopefully you can give it to somebody else who'll do it better, or you have an idea or whatever, or you put it to the back or something. It's just that openness to, that's what I like about training. And it's a chance just to get better, man.
100%.
Even with the rolls, rolls are fine. They're, like I said, they're a small part. It was a big eye opener of like how intricate it all sits together and how much of a performance and like how much freedom and work and everything you sort of put together. Like it's not just like, well, I'll do this move, you do this move, and then we'll do this, and then come to the middle and I'll try and do that. It's like, well, let's get the fans involved, the crowd, you look good, I look good, everything from there. So there's just so much.
And as far as like the training aspect of it, and you've done it for about 4 to 5 years now.
Yeah.
What was it? Was there goals for you breaking in to do it, or was it just like, I want to get in there and small goals, have a match, and then
I didn't even think I'd get a training match. Like, to be honest with you, like I watch these guys and I'm like, like I know it's I'm always the headspace of like positive, but first goal was like turn up to training. then turn up to training consistently, then get a training match, then another training match, then another opportunity, then who show, and then from there, and then, oh yeah, Charlie Evans, best, one of the best coaches I've ever had. What a hero, But yeah, like that was the thing. It was just, I think for me, the goals were pretty systematic and the same as a lot of people in some regards, but then it was also the opportunity to get approached to tick that goal off. I think that was the fun bit. So, it's not so much that who doesn't want to match, or who doesn't want to get into wrestling and go, oh, I don't want to match. Like, unless it's like, or even to referee or to manage or to commentate or whatever, so to have that, and then have those to have like your coaches or your peers go, hey, I think he's ready, or I think I had this idea for you, or you presented an idea to us and you can go through. And then for that, that's probably the cool thing for the goals. Like that's what I sort of found was the fun part. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it gives you something to look forward to,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and to work towards. But what's been probably the most challenging thing for you in pro wrestling that you found?
Oh man. I don't think I find anything too challenging, because I think I can find the positive of most scenarios. I think the challenge for me is to be good enough to be presented with world opportunities because I've earned it. So it's that with everybody in wrestling, because it's such a stacked roster in Australia, and there are so many great, fantastic wrestlers, people, personalities, to be able to be considered in that would be the biggest challenge I need to sort of try to not overcome, but try to work with, because there's like so many people that are absolutely amazing, like, and to be able to be given an opportunity to work with those all over the country. I think the biggest challenge is, if you want to put it down, is the perseverance to know that it might not be straight away, but if you just keep chipping away, it'll get there.
Yeah. I think that's the thing with a lot of things is perseverance, how much dedication, and and even Jim Bro just said it the other night, it's how much of a priority is it in your life for you to achieve, you know what I mean? Like that's the realistic of it. It's like some people go, yeah, I'm doing this over here, this is like a fun thing, or like, you know what I mean? Like no matter what it could be, wrestling or whatever, but then there's people who take things to another level. So
well, and you see that as well too. Like like there's so many people that are doing fantastic, or like you can learn from or see the steps with it and have that good mixture. Like, that's what I mean. It's just that whole community of like watching people succeed and see that like if you take the right steps, that opportunity will be presented to you when it's available, So yeah. And but just before we go, I just got to give a big shout out to Jordan Cougar White. Big fan of his, absolute legend, one of the best people in the world. Brother. Hope he's happy.
Nah, no problem at all. But as far as like the character Parker Thomas, like what were your thoughts about building the character? What goes into it? Like what do you want to perceive to the audience when you walk through that curtain?
I think now, like at the moment, I'm in a bit of a sort of transition for that character as well. A few places I've sort of worked as more as like against the crowd as a heel per se. So now it's having those personality traits that are a little bit opposite to me, but using them to an advantage to have better matches and to have a better character and go from there. So I'm usually a very optimistic person. So now I'm sort of starting to work with turning PT into the character that people hate is motivating. So the over-the-top motivational speaker, the over-the-top snake oil salesman, the guy that like, you know what, I can be your role model, but you'll never be who I am. So read my book, buy my merch, watch my matches, use me as a guide, but you'll still be crap. Like I pretty much want to be a personification of a demotivational poster, Jesus. Just when you think I'm helping you out, I'm going to snake oil you, Pretty much, those sort of guys. Any Instagram influencer you've seen nowadays, just that sort of stuff. Because that's the things I've been looking at. Like even Ben Stiller out of Dodgeball, just love his character, just that sort of stuff. The whole arrogant, smarmy, but not afraid to like show your butt and get your comeuppance and all that sort of stuff. So just that's the idea I'm sort of working with. But the thing with me is having a concise, like these steps, focus on this, and this, and move through. Instead of trying to do everything at once, try and get this part right, then this part, then this part, and this part, So, yeah.
So when you say getting the parts right, like, what do you mean? Like, is it like
I think
the
leading
to the ring?
Yeah, like being that thing where like there's amazing wrestlers. Like I said, there's a million fantastic wrestlers, and a lot of people can wrestle, right? But to have that character that people remember is that extra step. Plus, it helps you feel comfortable with what you're doing. If you can lean into this where you relax and you're a part of the show and you're a part of the match and X, Y, and Z, and people build into that, that makes it so much more enjoyable. Because and it's something where like if your goal is to be the person that they boo or they're against or that, if you can bring that and that's something that people remember in a very smart and like non like dejective way, it's great. It's, but trying to trust that that's what you have to do. So listening to like your coaches on ideas they have, or just trying stuff and seeing how it's going, and or putting towards storylines and just going from there. So, that's the probably the trickiest bit, because we all want to go back to what's comfortable for us. Like there's always a point where like you might go to wrestling and go, I just don't feel comfortable, so I'll go back to what I'm knowing. But then everybody's seen that. But it's like, well, all right, what do I need to push the envelope more, or what do I need to work with, or just stuff like that. Yeah. So like moving away from a wrestler who can wrestle to moving away to a character that people can either relate to or work for or against. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like, you can be an amazing in-ring performer, but if the personality and the character's not there, like it's hard to then come across to the, you know what I mean? Like prime example, like a Dean Malenko, one of the greatest in of all time. But then you've got a Chris Jericho, who great worker, but great personality. You know what I mean?
And that was like their stuff in WCW, like the Man of 1,004 Holes. Like that was the whole yin and yang, where Dean will like beat the hell out of you, but Jericho's the, three-handled family crescender, armbar, Boris Malenko tribute and all that sort of stuff. Like it was just, they fed off each other. And then when the match kicked in, you're good to go, so they just worked. And like, even with that, like I think Dean had the payoff by turning up as a lucha and then revealing the mask as something totally different to him.
It was like Silver King or something like that. And I think
it was that, or it was like, it was a Halloween character. I can't remember it, but it was so cool.
Lapaka?
Nah, close. He had orange. See, this is where I want to be a supermarket now, because I watched the match the other day. You've got me on a tangent, bro. I think it was a battle royal, but there was Hoovertude, the other wrestler, and Jericho. And Hoovertude like just shot himself over the top, eliminated him, and then everyone's like flipping out and go from there. And then you turn around and the whole lucha's got there, takes the mask off, and it's Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko wrestles Jericho in this like lucha outfit with no mask, gets the pin, and he avenged him, So see, big mark for it, brother.
You gotta love old school WCW though. Like,
mate, it was amazing. Like, just the characters were awesome, man. It was so good. I'm a big Ddp fan.
I go and watch like a heap of the old stuff, and it takes like I can actually sit there and like I watch new shit like Raw and stuff like that, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I watch it with a different eye now, whereas like back then it's like, Macho Man botched, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's Macho Man, fuck him, like fuck everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
man, I still try and catch everything I can, like Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Like it's just like you get snippets, and the cool thing about social media, you can see like parts of it and all that sort of stuff. But it's still like, I don't know. Like I know when people say wrestling change, it's still wicked, man. Like there's so much, So it's absolutely like amazing. I do like the 90s stuff I go back on, but you see the progression from it and the change. It's amazing. Like, and that's the stuff. What I think with more the character stuff is like finding snippets of what you enjoy from a certain era, but then also moving that away from just wrestling to moving it to like other external pieces of motivation. So like, like certain characters you like in movie, lifestyle, whatever extra hobbies you have, your own personality traits, and just sort of trying to mesh them together. So it's brilliant.
I actually read, I can't remember where I read this. I read it from a tweet or something, and someone was talking about the current WWE product. It's like, it's not that the wrestlers are doing a bad job. It's not that creative's doing a bad job. It's just that the product is so polished. It's not gritty. Like back when like we were younger, like that Attitude Era was like the arena was filled with smoke. It had that grittiness to it, where now it's
remember the Raw the Raw backdrop was like one Raw sign and two big curtains and then the massive Tron, and that was it. And it was just like some fireworks at the end of the thing, and then JR's just going off and King's going off, and everybody's got a sign with some sort of swear word in it. And that was it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But, you know, I think that's where I read that, and it was like, you know what, it's kind of true. It's more polished now than what it was. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think wrestling needs a bit of grittiness to it.
It does, but then also, too, like, everything evolves for a reason and something from there as well. Like, when you think about it, if something had stayed the way, like, that's anything in life. If something stays the way it is, it's either going to just get forgotten or just stay where it is and, like, slowly decline anyway. And, like, and that's the cool thing. Like, you know, that's like the beautiful thing about wrestling. It's always subjective. Like, you know, some people like high flying. Some people like this show. Some people like that wrestler. Some people don't like that wrestler. Some people think this show is amazing. Some people think like that. Man, like, you know, and that's the real cool concept of it, that, you know, no one has a right to go, well, that sucks. It's like, you know, it's like, well, that's cool. Show me what it is. And, you know, I'll take it in and go from there. Like, you know, you're always going to get something where you watch and just go, I didn't get it, or I wasn't sure about it, or, you know, I've done that in my matches. I walk out about go, that didn't work. You know, that was silly. But then you just, like, you know, you take it in and move on from there, man. You know, so yeah.
Exactly. I think, like, as you said, wrestling's subjective. And I think as soon as you start becoming over, and I think it's different if you're in the business to being a fan. I think that fans that are overly critical, that where they have never really, you know what I mean? And I've seen like super fans like, oh my God, like, what would this person know? He was never a world champion. I'm like, bro, like, really, like, you're a fucking, like, you know what I mean? Like, open your eyes, man. You know what I mean? Like, just I could work 30 years and never be a CEO. Doesn't mean I'm a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's it. And you have your favorites, you know, that should have or could have. But I don't know, like, there is opportunities where you see people like who, like, you know, like, who are really good, who should be presented with an opportunity. But then you go there, like, there's so many, like, even like early days, man. Like, I'm a big fan, like, early 90s and all that, was like Jake Roberts and Mr. Perfect, two guys that should have been, and probably Rick Rude I put in there as well. Three guys that just should have been a world champion at some point. Just right characters, right people, just wrong time. Like, that was Hogan, and then, like, you know, all that sort of stuff where, like, you know, you got guys like, you know, Perfect, just great character in that, like, awesome athlete as well too. Like Roberts, some of the best promos you ever cut as well. And then you got Rick Rude, one of the best characters you ever seen. Like, just that old school stuff is just like, you know, you see that, and then, but even coming through, like, there's always a what if, like, so and so should have been this, should have been that, and everything. But, you know, I don't know. I just hope people are enjoying it and getting successful and getting the most out of it. I think the thing is, you don't want to see someone who's unhappy with what they love doing. You know, that's probably the big thing. Yeah, so that's probably the way I look at it, and then go from there. So, yeah, I think it's wicked, man. You know, there's so much out there.
You know what? You mentioned Jake Roberts, though, like, and never being a champion, though. Like, I'm of the belief is, like, he never needed a belt. And it was probably it was his own detriment. He was that good at what he did.
Yeah.
That he didn't need to be champion. Like, it was redundant. He was already over as a heel.
Yeah.
It wasn't needed.
Nah. Like, I was at his promos because it was so cool, calm, and calculated and that as well. And, like, you know, just his promos were just absolutely amazing. But on the flip side, I remember, dude, you remember like Beyond the Mat, the documentary?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so Beyond the Mat was like, you know, how did the story where they went backstage with the E, and it was like, it was Rumble, where it's Foley and Rock, and it was like the chair shot after chair shot after chair shot, and Foley had his hands cuffed, and he goes, and the thing he said before the match, he goes, you know what, I want to push the envelope, I want to do this, I don't want to be the guy that's known for pulling my sock out of my tie. So they planned this match, and it was just bah, bah, bah. And then Foley had his family like front row, and they showed all that. Like, that blew me away because it just opened it up. Same thing with tape trading. It's like, oh my God, this is what they do, and do everything like that. But then the one that got me was, being a Roberts fan, just seeing what happened to him. So the whole thing with, like, his father, Grizzly Adams, and then him, and then you just saw that slow decline over, like, years. And then the whole thing with DDP I thought was really cool. So, like, you know, just seeing stuff like that was probably tricky. But, like, yeah, just people, like, getting a second chance, or just having an opportunity to sort of still chase their dreams and all that sort of stuff. Like, I wanted him to be in the Rumble when he was pushing for it, mate. I don't care if he did nothing, you know, just get him in there.
Just get him in there, hit a couple of DDTs, and
burner account after burner account to get him on Patreon or whatever. Just get it going, man. Get him coming out there. I would have popped.
Oh man, you know what? Like, I think, like, the older generation of wrestlers now that we sort of look at, and it's like, I'm going to pop one in about 20 years time when we see Jericho coming out and doing like the Y2J spot at 70, like,
yeah,
or
bit
at 60.
arthritis in the right shoulder or something, can't quite get it up or whatever, has to walk
Yeah,
out.
it's
Yeah,
like those ones.
I'm feeling like that some days now. So good luck to you, man. So it's amazing.
But
like,
sorry, go on.
No, you're right. I was going to say, but that's like even the cool thing, like because there's more opportunities now, we're starting to sort of see that. And like we were talking about progression before, if we didn't have the openness of like the internet, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, like YouTube, like Fight TV, all these online platforms, like a lot of this stuff would not be seen now. But now it's like it's a period for like people who love to do what they do to get seen by so many eyes and so many opportunities in so many different ways. And I think that's wicked.
Oh, 100%. I think that there's so much more to connect people as well. Like, the Twitters, the Instagram, the Facebook, YouTube, all that sort of stuff. It gives people that sort of platform to be able to go out and grow a fan base, not necessarily having to rely on a machine to get you there.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's the cool thing as well. And like, it's just more people able to do what they enjoy doing and just getting so many avenues to sort of move forward and perform and like just be a part of this thing called wrestling. I think it's wicked.
So now 5 years in, what are your goals for pro wrestling today?
So for me, I'm not big on lists. Like I was thinking about this because I know a few people write lists at the start of the year. I'm horrible at lists, man. I think with so many amazing wrestlers at the moment, I think my goal is to be in that conversation, to have an opportunity to work with them. So for that, it's like opportunity to work like longer matches, bigger shows, bigger storylines. Like I'm still learning. Like I pick my coach's brain every day. Like I've got this or that doesn't work or everything like that. And I think sometimes they get over it because they go, mate, you want to do everything. Let's get one thing right. You want to do the whole thing. So for that, it's more the opportunity where, like obviously with Newy Pro, where I train to work my way through, to have the opportunity to work with the guys at the higher level and go from there. And then also to be the opportunity to work with the fantastic guys at PWA, and then to go in a state with like Victoria, like South Australia, WA, like Northern Territory. Like there's so much around there. So I think it's more to create a bit more of a name for myself where there is conversation where I can sort of work a little harder. And that's, if that makes sense as well. So instead of having the opportunity where, we got a spot, we haven't filled it, we'll put you in. It's like, well, let's send us something around you to build forward. And that means I have to put in the work too. Like I don't expect to sit back and go, well, I've been here for 5 years, so I should have this. Man, nah. It's like, well, I've got an idea. This is what I think. Does it work? Does it do it? All right, cool, back to the drawing board. Or this is, what I was trying to do, or I've got this character trait, or if like my coaches like Hoff, Carter, Boswood, all those sort of guys come up and go, hey, we need this for a match. It's like, well, you do it. It's like, great, man. We've got this spot. We need you to do 4 to 6 minutes. You're going to get hit with this, and this. Cool, man. Sweet. Awesome. Where do you need me? How do you want me to sell it? Fantastic. And then, be coachable. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably an important thing as well, is the fact that you can listen and work with people, especially in pro wrestling, because that's what it is. It's all working with the person.
Yeah. Man, one thing one like double-edged sword, which I love, like you go to shows and seeing like people that you admire on it and you also train with, you still want to be there though. Like I think that's the thing. Like you still, like regardless of like what they're doing, you still just want a taste of it. Like you want to like, and that's not a shot where it's like me, not them. It's like, I want to be a part of that, not take anything. I want to grow with that. Like you want to see that, like, like you have all these shows where like just people are just knocking it out of the park. You just walk out the back and go, I want this. Like you drive home, like I'll drive back from Sydney sometimes by myself and just be thinking, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? I want to go back to training. I want to do this. I got to do that. I'll write stuff down, do all this. Maybe I do this. Maybe I do this. And then it's just like, you just, because you see like peers and friends and all that sort of stuff just absolutely tearing the house down.
Yeah.
So, and then fans like being a part of it. Like it's no better feeling, man. Even if they boo you, cheer you, whatever, you suck, all that sort of stuff. It's amazing.
Oh, 100%. I think that it's getting the reaction that you want from the audience.
Yeah.
But, you mentioned being able to go into state, you've gone and done a couple of, Sydney's not really interstate for you, but you've worked for PWA, you work for FWA. Where are some of the promotions that you'd like to see yourself go to in 2020?
Oh, there's so many. Like, this is the thing. Like, I remember one of the first people I met was like I've always really admired like working with like Gavin McGavin. So he was one of the first guest coaches to come up to Newy. So I met him a few times. So I'd love to work with him. And like what he does and everything like that. Like, you look at like hotbeds, like Melbourne's a hotbed. Like, you know, you look at EPW Perth and all that as well too. Like, there's so many there's so many different sort of promotions and all that sort of stuff. It's like there's like Deathmatch Down Under's getting a lot of play in that as well too. Like, honestly, there's too many to. I feel bad because I know like I have all of them, like just there, but trying to remember them is like one of those things. Like, I don't want to feel someone who doesn't. I don't want to like disappoint anybody if I don't mention, but like there's so much. Like, there's a lot of big like places out there. Like, you know, like Victoria's a big one as well. Like, you know, Perth's a big one as well. So they're probably my big three as well. Queensland would be cool to check out just because it's a cool state, and like a few people who I've had the opportunity to meet and go from there is like, you know, awesome. Like, you know, make a few connections. But man, anywhere. I know it sounds weird. Like, maybe not like, you know. The back of some joint with like 4 people out in the middle of nowhere, but like, you know, just those places where like have the opportunity to grow.
But even like in Newcastle, like you guys have got like what 3 or 4 promotions, like all in a span of like 30 minutes from each other, right?
Yeah. So the big one for me is obviously Newy Pro. Like that's home for me as well. But like even around, like there's just a lot of stuff in the area. But for me, like, to have the opportunity to move through the guys at Newy Pro, like if you want a goal, that's boom, that. Then PWA, like they're the two, like, because they were just so accepting. Like, they're the only places I've trained at, so it's not like one of those things. But they're so open with like me being a part of it. Like, everybody I met was just like absolute family and all that sort of stuff. So it's one of those things where like to work for those two as a regular or a part of it or something that has like weight behind it, oh man, sweet. Yeah, that's like, I'll be a happy person 10 years down the track to have that next to my name.
Oh, 100%. And Newy Pro and PWA are 2 of the top promotions in the country. So
yeah, man, awesome people, just fantastic. But like to see like meeting like athletes that come from other states and that as well, like nothing but praise. Like I said, like meeting a lot of the Victorian guys, and then meeting Gavin McGavin, and then a lot of the other guys in the state where I've met at other promotions and that as well. Like, they're all brilliant. Like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of like working with them? So it's like definitely, like, you know, like I say, I always feel bad that I can't directly name one name, but when you meet a group of people that you really like, it's like, well, I'll just work that group. They're all awesome, you know, sweet.
Yeah.
You know, let me be part of it, you know. Yeah, so that's the thing.
100%. Have you put a time frame on how long you'd like to wrestle, or is it like the bodies keep going, the body keeps going?
I'm definitely that body keeps going, mate, 100%. So I'm definitely that. So I have what's called the Ddp Theory, right, bro? Yeah. So I was reading up the other day, right? So DDP was like, yeah, 100%. Maybe definitely not the yoga, like I'm not going to do PT yoga, so definitely not going to do that, mate. But so like reading up DDP story, right? Rookie at like 36 or something, 37. I'm like, yes, let's go, mid-30s, brother. You know, another one. Then from there, like he wins like his first world title with WCW at 43. And I'm like, you know what? I think the body's holding up all right. Might put that down, you know. And then you have like a little bit off tangent is Steve Carell from The Office. So his big break for that was like 42. So I'm like, listen, if I can get to those, I look the part and I'm able to go and able to be trusted and move, sweet. For the grace of God, if something happens, I would love to still be a part of it in any regard. So a time frame for that, I like it. I think it's great. If it means I step back and like train wrestlers or do something behind the scenes or something along those sort of lines, man, I'll always want to be a part of that as well. So yeah, but as far as still going in the ring, mate, a couple more years, it'd be sweet. You know, I'm doing pretty good. I'm telling pretty cool stories. I'm having fun. You know, it's like, yeah, there's some amazing people in that. You know, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I've always thought about the big retirement match. Who would I like to get sent off by? I don't know. Like, it's one of those ones. Who do I leave the boots in the ring for? So I have no idea, bro.
But like, have you ever had to have any, or have you had any serious injuries since starting?
Yeah. Worst one was 3 months in, bro. I broke my foot on a backbreaker. How do you break your foot on a backbreaker? Oh. So I was working a trainer match, man. And the guy I was working with, super safe. But he does the stuff where, like, you know, I'll call it in the ring. I go, cool. Went up for a back break. I think it was more nerves. I zigged when I should have zagged. Nobody's fault. And my foot came down. Boom. But it's like that way. So, so I bent backwards. So like pretty much healed a calf. So get this, I thought I sprained my ankle. So I'm like, I'm all right. It's like, first time I felt like a wrestler, go to the finish. It's a training match. I could have just lied there going, I don't want to do this anymore. So, you do that. And then from there, everybody's like, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I think I just sprained it. So I'm walking around on it, but it just didn't feel right, obviously. Like it wasn't bent in the wrong position or a bone was sticking out. I just heard something go, boom. I went, I've probably just done something like that. So I go home, right? And at the time, I'm living in a second-story apartment. All right, so I walk up the stairs. I'm like, not an elevator or anything. I'm like, I'll walk upstairs, super slow, like I'm limping. And then I'm like, all right, time for bed. So I just went to bed, elevated my foot. I'm like, it's probably sprained. I'll put an ice pack on it. The next morning, I started work at 6 a.m. So I turned up to where I work, but I couldn't even put a shoe on. So I got one shoe on, one thong. And I'm like, still, it's sprained. I get to the counter at work, and my first client and the guys I work with, they go, what's going on with that? Like, did you lose a thumb or did you find one? What happened? And my foot was like, bro, it's a football, yeah? Jesus. So I'm like, all right, mind you, it's like right foot, I'm driving an automatic still. So I drive to work, then I drive to the ER. So I'm sitting in the ER for like 2 to 3 hours. And a guy comes up and he goes, oh, what'd you do? And I'm like, I'm telling the doctor that I sprained it, and he can tell it's a break. I'm like, nah, man, you don't know what you're doing. You ain't done 1,000 years of uni and all that sort of stuff. You're only good at what you do. It's a sprain because I'm positive, all right? I'm finding the best out of this. And then like he's going, all right. He's a real nice guy, super nice guy. And like we were talking for about 45 minutes. He's going to look after you, mate. I'll put you in this room. So I get to watch MASH on TV for an hour, talk about heaven. So I'm watching MASH with this busted foot. And he goes, oh, we'll put you in to get an x-ray. And I said, well, all right, I'll buy a lunch if it's a break. And he gets in there. And he told the girl who's doing like the x-ray, and she just leans back, starts laughing, and just does this. And I went, oh, all right. So it's a break, right? So the way your ankle is, you got like your stirrups, so your two bones off your foot, and one's just gone boom. The outside one just boom, clean snap. So I'm sitting there like, God, like absolutely. I'm like 3 months into wrestling, I've broken my foot or my ankle or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sitting there trying to, MASH doesn't do for me. I'm holding back tears, all that sort of stuff. First doctor comes by, and because we're in an ER, so it's like general sort of public and all that. First doctor comes by and goes, oh, I broke my ankle. And he goes, oh, I'll put a big cast on it. You probably won't be able to play sport properly, wrestle, do anything like that. They were just going to send me on my way. Like I was absolutely like, I can try not to ugly cry. I got something in my eye, And then the the doctor that looked at me before, he's gone, what's the result? And he's like, he's just going to put a cast on me and send me out. And I'm like, I'm done. Like I work in an area where like I'm physical and all that. So I'm like, I'm done. That's it. Game over. So a guy goes, oh, give me a second. He said, can you sit tight for an hour? And I'm like, yep, sweet. And he goes, well, what time did you do it this morning? I said, no, I didn't do it this morning. He goes, what? I said, I did it last night. So I said, you're coming in with that break and you did it a day ago. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, before I talked to the doc, he's like, what medication on? I said, nothing. I said, like, Panadol, nah. Endo, nah. And he goes, do you take anything that you shouldn't take? And I went, no, I'm just like, I've never broken a bone, so I don't know if it should hurt. That's probably the plainness and stupidity in me just going, oh, it's fine. So he comes back with a surgeon and he's like, yep, we'll get you in the next hour. So fortunately, get in for a surgeon, 6 screws in my ankle, a couple of plates, out of action for like 8 weeks. Obviously, like a bone's got to heal. So bone's got to heal. Here's me 2 weeks in, you have the checkup. I'm walking in there going, I'm going to be back 2 weeks. Not like, come on, man. Think 2 weeks. I go, yeah, it'll be fine. Same thing. Got to tell the doctor. He's like, so do I get my cast off and do I get my like crutches going? He's going, mate, it's been 2 weeks. So 7 weeks in, then went to physio on my own back, just did that. And I was literally like, so I was working in the fitness industry, which still am, and I had to drop all my PT clients. I had to not teach classes, so they wouldn't let me work at all. So it was like 3 months of nothing. So the first 4 weeks, it was basically like I'd get food delivered to my door, a pizza every day. I'd be lying in my bed playing video games. So, I finished Doom 2016 in a day, man. Great. And I full on had the skullet with the baseball cap. Like I had hair. It was horrible. Then basically 2 weeks in, I'm like, I can't do this. I got to do something about it. So it's like, it was the worst. So I looked in the mirror and I was like, shit. So it's probably not the best info, but I started going to the gym real late at night. Yeah. Started going back to doing like, upper body, which is great. And then doing cardio like in the morning, but like the Aerodyne bike, or I had a skateboard and I was doing a rower. I had my foot attached to a skateboard so I could still do that. Just put same thing. I didn't want to watch wrestling, but I put a bit of wrestling on and just get back into it. So just doing that. And that was awesome. Like really enjoyed it. Started having something again. Then 6 weeks in, I started going to physio, but everybody was telling me, they were like, you got to give this up. Like there's no money in it. You're not PTing. You're not working. You're sitting there losing money. And I'm like, I know, like, but it's my choice. And for weeks, just tossed and turned. Like it was like, should I call it? Should I just go back? And like, there was a guy that I work with, that good friend, but very interesting concept with like trying to bring, he's like, you got to give it up. You got to quit. Like, you got to think about like house, partner, kids, job, career. And I'm like, yeah, but so I was literally, got off the crutches about a week or so early because I was doing physio on my own accord. Because it was surgery, I had to like start using the ankle again. Yeah. So I got in there. I walk in there and I remember this. I walked in, there was the first day I could walk. I walked into the house in the Arbor. I'm pretty sure it was a Monday Arbor. I walked in, right? And I was sitting in the car for like 45 minutes, right, beforehand. I was going to go in and tell Hoff and say, hey, man, appreciate it. Just done. And over that 3-month period or that 2-month period where I couldn't train or work, every day or second day, it was a wrestler. Hey, man, how you doing? What's going on? Do you need anything? Do you need that? What are you doing? And like obviously friends and that, but like these guys are barely known for 3 months. Like, like everybody, hey, bro, I hope you're doing good. Hey, man, doing this. Hey, come into the house if you need anything. Blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. Like even people I've never met that I've known from like going to a show. Hey, how you doing? How that? And I was just like, Jesus. And then when I get there, Hoff just comes in and he gives you like, he's got this real like cocky smirk. And he goes, and I'm like, I was ready. I'm like, my mouth was like, I'm done, man. I'm sorry, but I'm done. I appreciate it. All the best. You guys will go to shows. I'll sit in the back. And he goes, oh, you're back? And I went, yeah, I'm back. Let's go. So, it was like big hug. Everyone was there. And it was like one of those things where in my head, I went, well, that didn't work, did it? So, and then it was just like, because when I walked in there, it was just like, I fucking miss this more than anything. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, the place I was working at, I was grateful, but I didn't hear shit from them. I was like, well, you're out of work at the moment, sort of, but every day, a wrestler, hey, man, do you need this? Hey, man, do you need this? Hey, do you need this? That's why I love it. Like, it's like, I was there for a couple of months and it was still like that support.
That's amazing, man. And it shows, and it shows the, like, how as human beings that they are. And it's like, it's almost like, even if you like, and you were wanting to quit wrestling, but it's like, how do you walk away from people like that? You know what I mean?
Mate, you ever seen a man with a scarlet cry over wrestling? Except for Hogan, it was me, bro. I was just thinking, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It was terrible. But it was funny because like everybody was so really accommodating. And I just started doing like an advanced night. So it was a Wednesday night. And Bonzo's got a real, like, I'm always a fan of like his demeanor. It's like, he's amazing. He's like, break your ankle. I'm like, yeah. He said, how'd you do it? I said, oh, man, on a backbreaker. He's going, all right, get in there with Roger's backbreaker. I just start sweating. What? I don't know. I'm not ready for this. No, you'll be fine. Gets in there. Perfect. All good. He's going, cool. Back of the line. Keep going. It's just like straight to it. I was like, that was amazing. It was the best.
That's probably his way.
Right. It was one of those things where I was just like, oh my God. Yeah.
That's mate, you can't, like, match, you're going to have to do one.
And it was awesome. Like, it was one of those things where like from there, it's just like, that's the best. So, like, I'm sitting there like sweating and shaking. I haven't done anything. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Matt Rogers. He's just perfect. Oh, brilliant. And then, back from there. And it was, and I've been, like I said, I've been there ever since. Like, knock on wood, you have like a few little sort of bumps and bruises and a couple of times where you don't know whether you're coming or going. And, like I've been very fortunate. I think with the crew and the community that we sort of have, there's people that want to see you succeed in a prominent, safe way. Like, I want my matches to look as best as possible, but I also want to make sure the person I'm working with can come out the back and go, that was awesome. We did everything we needed to. We're all safe. Accidents happen. Like, I've slipped, I've fallen, I've done something like, where like, you might bump heads when you forget something, or you might like, land wrong, or, you get a crowded area, like, or you try something a little different, go, well, that didn't sit right. But other than that, like, so I've been lucky with that.
At the end of the day, it's not ballet. You know what I mean? Like, shit's going to happen in there. And
you get the one where you get popped and all of a sudden you're like, all right, that my eyes are like watering from that one, So, but it is what it is. Like, as far as big stuff, that's probably been the biggest. Like, a few days you might wake up and go, oh, why is that sore? Oh yeah, that's right, that thing. Yeah, but I try and look after myself, and I want to, like, the big thing is to look after the people that I'm a part of the match or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's important as well, like, taking care of everyone you're in the ring with.
Yeah.
While accidents happen, shit happens, you just got to be able to be as safe as possible.
Big time. 100%.
But guys, it is that time of the show. It is time for 60 Seconds with Piers. We've told PT how this works. We're going to fire, or I'm going to fire a bunch of questions at him. He's got 60 seconds to answer as many.
Let's go.
PT, you ready?
Let's do it, my man.
All right, let's go. I'm starting the clock. Favorite song to sing karaoke?
Favorite song to sing is Short Skirts, Long Jacket by Kate, because you don't have to sing it, you can talk it.
Name a gross meal combo that you like that no one else does.
Oh, bro. I'm a big fan of 2-minute noodles with mayonnaise when I was growing up.
Oh, how old were you when you found out about Santa Claus? What do you mean?
Too old to remember, bro.
What is the best gift you have ever received?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. I'm not too sure, man. I think I'll come back to that one. Best gift I've ever received. That's a good one. I think every gift's pretty special in this way, bro.
That's it. If you could change the result of any wrestling match in history, what would it be and why?
Oh, dude, that's a tough one, but I'll say one off the top of my head. Booker T, Triple H Mania.
Okay. You're the lead singer of a band and get to go on tour with them for 6 months. Which band do you choose?
Oh, Queens of the Stone Age for sure.
iTunes or Spotify?
iTunes.
What game show would you be great at?
Let's go Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. Okay, last one. In 5 minutes' time, you are being taken to outer space. What 2 personal belongings do you take with you, excluding humans?
Excluding humans. Mate, I'll probably take my Nintendo Switch to take my minds off things because it'd be pretty scary. And dude, set of dumbbells as well. Got to get a good workout in while I'm up there.
100%, mate. Good to know.
I think that's 3 items: 2 dumbbells or whatever.
Oh, dumbbells are set. But that has been 60 seconds.
Bro, that was tough.
Mate, I asked the hard questions, bro. You should know that. But PT, look, it's been great having you on the show, man. An hour has just flown by, and I'd love to get you back on for a part 2 sometime down the track.
Yeah, man.
But PT, where can everyone find you on social media and buy some merch?
Well, the big thing is I'm mostly Instagram at the moment. So Parker Tomas Pro Wrestler. So pretty much just all lowercase. Just pop that in there. You'll find me pretty easily. And that's pretty much all the dates, all the stuff coming up as well, and pretty much everything that's going on with Parker Tomas. And Tomas is Tomas. There is no H. All right.
There you go, guys. But this weekend you got a show on Sunday, right? And then I think this weekend as well, it's there's a Newy show on.
So Newy's been rescheduled just due to a few things going on at the moment. So at this stage, it's like, with everything going on in the world as well. So they have rescheduled that. So if you want to check their socials at Newcastle Pro Wrestling, they've reorganized the dates and all that sort of stuff. So they'll honor the tickets and everything from there. I think it's the 5th of February, my man, but just double check all that sort of stuff. So it definitely looks like it's going to be a great show too. So everybody be on deck for that one. And then, this Sunday at FWA. But, there's heaps coming up, man. Like, there's so much going on.
Let's see, guys. So make sure you keep an eye out on all social medias. Check out my social media and MWA World social media because we share a lot of the Australian pro wrestling stuff. So we can help you find it. So make sure you follow us. Follow also Newy Pro, Parker Tomas, PWA, FWA, all the promotions that we've spoken about tonight. Go out there, show some support, show some love to Australian pro wrestling. But guys, huge shout out to our sponsors, healthape.com and sleefs.com. Use that promo code MWAPod to get a 10% discount. on your final purchases. Guys, make sure you also tune in for the rest of the shows we got coming up this week. We got Wrestling with Sports on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. We've got NXT Roundup. I'm going to have JT Robinson on Thursday night as well, returning. We got Killing the Business, the Funkin' Kingpin Show. Guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on all of those podcast platforms. But until then, guys, this is PT, this is PA, and we'll see you again very soon, eh? I don't know. Peace.